Last week my MacBook Pro died, so I picked up this base model 15-inch MacBook Air, and I thought this was going to be a great unit just to do my emails, and I'm going to do some web browsing, whatever we need to do business-wise. But when I installed my DAWs on this and for fun opened up a couple of projects, I found out that most of the projects I've been working on last year perfectly open up on this laptop. I am very happily surprised. It is a lot stronger than I suspected. Wait, is this running 94 tracks? So the question, will this be good enough for music production? Absolutely, but how much can it actually handle? I'm gonna throw a bunch of samplers and soft synths at it and see how many tracks it can run. Hey, my name is Lo. I'm a composer with close to 20 years of experience, and today I want to stress test the M4 Mac Air. I got the 15-inch model with the standard 16 gig RAM. The only thing I did is I upped the hard drive to 500 and whatever something gig, because the 265 is a little light, so that's the only upgrade I did to it. Today I want to have a look at how many tracks of Spitfire audio chamber strings it can run, how many tracks of Arturia Pigments. I'm gonna check that on Cubase, Ableton Live and Logic Pro. Let's open up Cubase and see how many tracks it can run with Spitfire audio chamber strings. I'm gonna run all these sessions in a buffer size of 128. I think that is the best medium of a buffer size that you can still play, but also it's really low, so it's fast and gives you a lot of headroom. So if you start mixing, you can put up your buffer size, add a lot more effects and everything. We all know about that. 128 is the buffer size. Here we got Cubase and I got chamber strings ensemble. I'm gonna run it with a simple C chord, which would be 4 layers. Okay, 1 track's working, but we expected that. What would happen if we have 10 tracks? Okay, no problem for now. Over here we can see the CPU meters. It's hardly hitting it. Let's double the amount. Let's go to 20. That's not how we double. Let's double the amount. Let's go to 20 tracks. No problem at all. Let's go to 30. If it runs 30 tracks, that would be pretty great actually. Here we go. No problem at all. Let's see how much CPU it's running. It's hardly hitting it. Let's duplicate. Let's put 10 more in there. No problem. Let's go to 50. Okay, start to have a little bit of trouble there, but still definitely workable. Let's go to 60. Over here we can see 60 tracks. Okay, it's taking a bit longer before it starts playing, but no cutouts, no nothing. Let's go for 70 tracks. Okay, it starts to have troubles at 70 tracks. That's insane. 70 layers of Spitfire audio chamber strings with 4 voices per track. That is a total of, let me count that out. That's 280 voices. If you would run an orchestral session, you wouldn't do 4 voices per track, right? You have 1 or 2 in a divisi. so you could easily double this up. I wouldn't do a massive cinematic orchestra on that, but if you want to have some demos on here, it is definitely possible. 70 is cutting it, so 60, running 60 tracks is definitely possible. I'm shocked. I'm literally shocked. Also, don't forget that if you want to run orchestral libraries, this will take up not only CPU, but mostly your RAM. This one only has 16 gig of RAM. This is the base model, the cheapest Mac you can buy at this moment of time. Thinking about that, if you do orchestral stuff or any other sample libraries, the computer loads the samples in its internal memory. Because of this, it is really hard on your RAM. But if you're using a lot of soft synths, that actually hits the CPU way harder. So those two different tracks have an absolute different way on how your computer is handling it. You know what? Let's open up Pigments from Arturia and see how many tracks that will run. I opened up a session with 10 tracks of Pigments. I took a random preset, wavetableism. There's quite some stuff going on. It's looking great. Okay, let's try 10 tracks. That's definitely playing. And let's see, look at the CPU. Yeah, it's hitting it a little harder than it was the case with the Kontakt libraries, but that's expected. Okay, 20 tracks, let's go. 20 tracks, no problem. Let's go to 30. 30 tracks. Come on. 40 tracks of Pigments. We had a little crackle, but it's still doing it. Let's look at the CPU. Definitely towards the max, but still working. Let's do another 10. Okay, so that's too much. Let's take 5 off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. "45 tracks of Pigments. And what was it? 60 tracks of Kontakt? That's a lot. You can run full-blown sessions on this, no problem. Like, these are the two things that hit your computer the hardest, and it's still so many tracks. Normally you have a mixture of like soft synths and Kontakt libraries and audio, which will even it out a little bit of how much your CPU versus your RAM gets hit. I'm very curious how many tracks you can run on like an actual real-life scenario. But for now, this is really amazing. What will it do on Ableton? Ableton Live, chamber strings, 128 samples as buffer size. Let's see. Okay, here we got one Kontakt instance of Spitfire audio chamber strings. Of course, this is gonna play well. Let's bring it up to 10 right away. 10, way down. No problem. Let's go to 20. No problem. 30, here we go. No problem. 40. 50. Wait, what? 60. Oh, I hear a little crackle. Is that a big problem? It's not creeping out. We have a little 70 tracks. Get out of here. So we only have a little CPU overload when we stop the track, which is the release notes. That's because it doubles up the count of notes at that moment, because you still have the ones playing and then the release notes on top of that. 70, come on, I'm gonna do 80, I wanna see what happens. Get out of here, 90. What? 100 tracks of chamber strings. And it's fucking playing? You hear. The release notes are cutting it. That's interesting. Let's see what happens with Pigments. Change the name. Pigments. And I'm gonna change the color. That's a fun color. Okay, same for you. And we're just doing wavetableism again. There we go. Of course it can run one track. Let's up it to 10. 10 tracks of Pigments. No problem. 20. 30. Okay, it doesn't like that. Let's cut them out. 25. Do you hear a little crackle? 26. 27. Yeah, this is where we start to lose it. 28. I call it at 27 tracks of Pigments at the same time. On the cheapest entry Mac. If you buy the smaller screen version, you can buy this for $899 US on Amazon right now. That is blowing my mind. Okay, these were 2 fun tests. I want to see what it does on Logic. It's made by Apple, so that should work the best, right? Let's see how many tracks of Kontakt we can run in Logic. Logic, Spitfire audio chamber strings, and 10 tracks. Let's go. No problem. We expected that. 20 tracks. No problem. 30 tracks. No problem. 40. 50. Wow. 60. System overload. 70 is where we cut out. Okay. 60 tracks on Logic. Amazing. I expected Logic to run more than the other programs though, but that's clearly not the case. They're ending up kind of around the same, I feel. Let's see what happens with Pigments. Pigments, 10 tracks in Logic. Runs smooth. 20 tracks. 30. 40. 50. That's the end. So around 45 tracks, that's safe to say. These are just some simple stress tests and far from scientific, but as a music composer or as a producer, when I look at what Mac to buy, I only see video editing and photo rendering and that kind of stuff. And it doesn't say anything on how it actually runs in a DAW. I'm gonna open up an old track and see how well it handles that. Okay, this song has 57 tracks with a good amount of plugins on every track, and it goes through a master track where we have a whole bunch of neutrons running, some ozones, some heavy duty plugins. I have 3 or 4 separate reverbs on every stem here, on all 10 stems, so that's 40 reverbs probably. Quite a heavy load of plugins. 57 tracks. No problem at all. Let's look at the CPU. CPU is around 50% right now. Should we just double the whole track? Let's do it. It's a great mixture of Kontakt libraries, some sample libraries that I built myself, a bunch of real instruments, real life recordings, modular synths. It's a mixture of everything. So this is a more realistic stress test of what you can expect this computer can handle. But the fact that it runs this without any problem at all is really great already. You know what, I want to say another thing. My last MacBook was the 2019 MacBook Pro, and the problem was it was overheating constantly, and that meant that I had a jet engine on my desk. It was impossible to make music with that thing. I have never tried the M4 Pro, but I want to hear from you guys because I hear that the M4 is the first chip that's heating up again, and because of that, the fans are kicking in. I kind of like that the MacBook Air does not have a fan. I hate it when the fan kicks in. I know we get into thermal throttling as soon as we as I'm gonna run this Mac for too long, it will run a lot less fast, but this is something I can't test right now. I'm very curious how that works, but please let me know if you have an M4 Pro. Does that fan kick in often? Because everything I've seen online, those fans are pretty loud. Let's go back to this guy. Okay, we're gonna double this whole session and see what happens. Very curious. 135 tracks is too much. No shit. Okay, I cut it down. 94 tracks. That is more than enough to do some decent writing. Of course, it ain't nothing comparison to a MacBook Pro or the Mac Studio that I have over there. But if I'm gonna be traveling, I gotta be honest, I used to bring my Mac Studio with me and 2 small screens, but I think I can get away with just bringing a MacBook Air and making music on that. I thought it was a glorified typewriter, but you can fully use this for music production, and it's light as hell. It's a great laptop. So one more time, let's put the numbers on screen. This is the amount of chamber strings I was able to run on this MacBook. This is the amount of pigments I was able to run. And with a real live session, here we go, 94 tracks. That is amazing. I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you next time.